Hi all, I'm Dr. Shama Sultana. I'm obstetrician and gynecologist and infertility consultant, Hoopin Hospitals, Kottapet, Guntur. Today we are going to look out about the webinar on World Breastfeeding Week. So firstly, I would like to welcome you all. So theme for this year, 2021, for World Breastfeeding Week, which is celebrated from 1st to 7th August, is Protect Breastfeeding, a Shared Responsibility. So UNICEF and WHO recommend 6 months of exclusive breastfeeding to all infants. So what's motherhood? Motherhood, as we see, a very precious gift of God. And the life of a woman completes when she attains motherhood. Motherhood is a wonderful experience. About mother's milk. Mother's milk is a nature's gift and it should be a baby's first taste. Mother's milk is the primary and complete food of newborns. Mother's milk has all the necessary nutrients for proper growth in correct amounts. Mother's milk perfectly satisfies baby's nutritional and fluid needs for first 6 months. Newborns should not be given water, sugar, honey, or other liquids. It is easily digestible, hence no constipation and colic. Only mother's milk contains colostrum, which serves as the baby's first immunization. So colostrum contains antibodies, which helps to protect the baby from disease. Colostrum has a mild laxative effect, expelling meconium and helping to prevent jaundice. Nutritional composition of breast milk changes as the baby's nutritional needs change, even within a single feeding. So initiation of breastfeeding, initiate breastfeeding as early as possible, preferably within an hour of birth. The newborn is very active and alert during first hour of life and then goes to sleep. The baby has very strong suckling reflex at this time. It stimulates the oxytocin and prolactin reflex and hence breast milk production. It ensures that baby gets first. So what are the topics we are going to cover? Are interaction and anatomy and physiology of breast, types and composition of human breast milk, difference between breast milk, cow milk, and also formula milk, correct positions of breastfeeding, and reflexes. And health benefits of breastfeeding, storage and breast milk, barriers to breastfeeding, galactogogues, lactation suppression, contraceptions during breastfeeding, lactation amenorrhea, HIV mother and breastfeeding, COVID infection and breastfeeding, myths and facts of breastfeeding, and complications of breastfeeding. So, according to WHO and American Academy of Pediatrics, breastfeeding is the normal way of providing young infants with the nutrients they need for healthy growth and development. Breastfeeding helps defend against infections, prevent allergies, and protect against a number of chronic conditions. So, WHO and UNICEF launched the Baby Friendly Hospital Initiative as well. In this, some 10 policies or 10 steps to be followed by a hospital to be a baby friendly hospital. That is, they have to maintain a hospital policies and staff competency, antenatal care and care right after birth, and support mothers with breastfeeding and supplementing, rooming in, responsive feeding, bottles, teeth, and pacifiers, and they have to check to that mother should learn the breastfeeding at the time of discharge. These all a baby-friendly hospital should contain. So, to know about the breast, anatomy and physiology. The breast consists of glandular tissue and supporting tissue and fat. Milk is secreted by the glands and travels through tubules which drain into lactiferous sinuses. The sinuses, which store small quantities of milk, lie below the areolae. They open onto the nipple through lactiferous ducts. The thin layer of muscle, that is myoepithelium, surrounds each gland. The contraction of these muscles causes ejection of milk from the gland. Anatomy of breast, as we see here, muscle cells, which are controlled by oxytocin. Oxytocin makes them contract, and milk secreting cells, which are controlled by prolactin. Prolactin makes them to secrete milk. Physiology. In this physiology, physiological basis of lactation is divided into 4 phases. That is preparation of breast, that is mammogenesis, synthesis of secretion from breast, alveoli, that is lactogenesis, ejection of milk, that is lactokinesis, maintenance of lactation, that is galactopoiesis. Okay, let's continue to our physiology. Preparation of breast, mammogenesis, and synthesis and secretion from breast, alveoli, that is lactogenesis, ejection of milk, that is galactokinesis, maintenance of lactation, that is galactopoiesis. So what is mammogenesis? This starts from birth to puberty and it continues in pregnancy. Ductal sprouting predominates in first trimester, lobular sprouting occurs more in second trimester, and hence during pregnancy, breast contains more glandular epithelial cells than stroma. Depend upon estrogen and progesterone, secretion of prolactin and somatotropin by the pituitary gland results in mammary growth. What is lactogenesis? Begins when estrogen and progesterone are withdrawn following delivery. Prolactin begins its secretory activity. Milk secretion actually starts on third and fourth postpartum day. And what is galactokinesis? It is also called milk letdown reflex. Discharge of milk depends on suction exerted by the baby during sucking and contractive mechanism which expresses the milk from alveoli into the ducts. What is galactopoiesis? Prolactin is the single most important galactopoietic hormone. Healthy mother produces 500 to 800 ml of milk a day to feed her infant with about 500 to 500 kilocalories per day. And once we see the reflexes, which play an important role in lactation are prolactin reflex, milk secretion reflex, and oxytocin reflex, that is milk ejection reflex. What is prolactin reflex? Prolactin, it is produced by anterior pituitary gland, which is responsible for milk secretion by the mammary gland cells. When the baby sucks, the nerve endings in the nipple carry message to the anterior pituitary, which in turn releases prolactin. The earlier the baby is put onto the breast, the sooner the reflex is initiated. The more the baby sucks at the breast, the greater is the stimulus for milk production. The greater is the demand for milk, larger is the volume of milk is produced. And here we see that baby is suckling and the sensory impulses from the nipple are going to the brain and prolactin is secreted and from blood it is coming onto the nipple. So more prolactin secreted at night and suppresses ovulation also. Secreted after feed to produce next feed. So what is oxytocin reflex? Oxytocin is a hormone produced by the posterior pituitary. It is responsible for contraction of myoepithelium around the glands, leading to ejection of milk from the glands into the lacteal sinuses and the lacteal duct. This hormone is produced in response to stimulation to the nerve endings in the nipple by sucking as well as by the thought, sight, and sound of the baby. So here we see baby suckling, sensory impulses from the nipple are going to the brain, and oxytocin is coming onto the action. So it also makes the uterus contract and works before or during a feed to make the milk flow. So here we see the types and composition of human breast milk. Types of breast milk that are colostrum or early milk, transitional milk, and mature milk. Colostrum milk or early milk is produced in the late stage of pregnancy till 4 days after delivery and is rich in antibodies and proteins. Transitional milk produced from day 4 to day 10 is lower in protein in comparison to colostrum. And mature milk is produced from approximately 10 days after delivery up till until the termination of breastfeeding. Milk which outpoured in one feeding can be classified as foremilk and hindmilk. Foremilk is also called early milk. At the beginning of the feeding, baby gets lactose, proteins, and water that satisfies the baby's thirst. Hind milk, that is late milk, comes later towards the end of the feed, and it is richer in fat content and provides more energy and satisfies the baby hunger. For optimum growth, the baby needs both foremilk and hind milk. The baby should therefore be allowed to empty one breast. The second breast should be offered after emptying the first. So here we see the differences between the different types of milk, that is human milk, animal milk, and formula milk. Here we see that bacterial contaminants are none in human milk, can be likely in animal milk, and likely when mixed, it is formula milk. Anti-infective factors are present in human milk, whereas absent in animal milk and formula milk. Growth factors are present in human milk and absent in animal milk and formula milk. Proteins, correct amount, easy to digest, whereas too much difficult to digest and partly corrected in animal and formula milk. Fats, enough essential fatty acids and lipids to digest. In animal milk, lacks essential fatty acids and no lipids. In formula milk as well, lacks essential fatty acids and no lipids. Iron, small amounts, well absorbed. And in animal milk, small amount, not well absorbed. And formula milk, it is extra added, not well absorbed. Vitamins, it is enough in human milk and not enough A and C present in animal milk, whereas in formula milk, vitamins are added. Water, it is enough in human milk, and in animal milk, it is extra needed, and in formula milk, may need extra. So proper position of baby while breastfeeding, which is very important, includes supporting the whole of the baby's body, ensure baby's head, neck, and back are in the same plane. Entire baby's body should face mother, and baby's abdomen touches mother's abdomen. Correct positioning will ensure effective sucking and prevent sore nipples and breast engorgement. So here we see attachment of the baby on mother's breast. It is also called latching. 4 signs of good attachment are baby's mouth wide open, lower lip turned outwards, baby's chin touches mother's breast, majority of the areola inside baby's mouth. So here are some positions, breastfeeding positions: cradle hold, cross cradle hold, lying on your side, and football hold and laid back. So here we see the cradle hold. Here, this is the most common position used by the mothers. Infant's head is supported in the elbow, and the back and buttock is supported by the arm and lifted to the breast. So football hold position, the infant is placed under the arm like holding a football, and baby's body is supported with the forearm and the head is supported with the hand. Many mothers are not comfortable with this position, and good position after operative procedures is better, like football hold position, maybe the good position for post-operative procedures. So these are the few breastfeeding positions for twins: double football hold, crisscross hold, in same direction, or relaxed position, or tangled position, or side feeding position. So in side lying position, the mother lies on her side, propping up her head and shoulder with pillows, and the infant is also lying down facing the mother. Good position after cesarean section allows the new mother to have some rest, and most mothers are scared of crushing the baby, so avoid this position, but most of the cesarean section can have some relief in this position. So cross cradle hold position, ideal for early breastfeeding. Mother holds the baby crosswise in the crook of the arm opposite the breast. The infant is to be fed. So the baby's trunk and head are supported with the forearm and palm. The other hand is placed beneath the breast in a U shape to guide the baby's mouth to your breast. So this Australian hold position is also called the saddle hold, and usually used for older infants, not commonly used by mothers, and best used in older infants with runny nose or infection. Yeah. So reflexes in the baby, rooting reflex, suckling reflex, and sucking reflex, and the swallowing reflex. What is rooting reflex? This reflex starts when the corner of the baby's mouth is stroked or touched with the nipple. Baby will turn his head and open his mouth to follow and root in the direction of the stroking. Onset is 28 weeks of intrauterine, well established at 32 to 34 weeks of intrauterine, and it disappears after 3 to 4 months after birth. So sucking reflex, this occurs in two stages. When the nipple is placed in the baby's mouth, they will automatically start sucking. With breastfeeding, the baby will place their lips over the areolae and squeeze the nipple between their tongue and roof of the mouth. As the liquid moves into the mouth, the tongue immediately moves into the back of the mouth for swallowing. This is known as swallowing reflex. So, what are the rules of breastfeeding? Exclusive breastfeeding for about 6 months and to continue for at least the second year. Complementary food rich in iron and other micronutrients should be introduced at about 6 months of age. Mother and infant should sleep in proximity to each other to facilitate breastfeeding. Initiation of breastfeeding should be encouraged as soon as possible after birth, ideally within 1 hour. So at every feeding, the infant is placed only on one breast and then during the next feeding on the other breast, mostly, thus alternating them. The duration of feeding is about 20 to 30 minutes, but it's not fixed either. However, it is not said that there is no exact time of every feeding of the infant. Every infant sucks the breast with different frequency and different duration of feedings for the day. When to burp a baby? Until you get to know signs baby needs a burp, there are some simple rules of thumb to follow. That is, if the breastfeeding burp, if we see for breastfeeding moms, a good time to burp baby is when you are switching the breast. If baby typically only feeds on one breast, burp during the usual halfway point. So if you know baby's usual feeding session lasts around 20 minutes, burp at the 10 minutes mark. If the bottle feeding burp, if we talk, when to burp during bottle feed is largely depends on the bottle you are using. If some few bottles are there in which the air can't be entered, so if they are used, it doesn't need to all that often to do burp. But with non-vented bottles or bottles that can cause more air to build up, burping every 2 to 3 ounces consumed is the best. So baby burping techniques are few, like over the shoulder you are taking. So then facing down on the lap. Here you can see in the picture, face down on the lap. Then we see sitting up position. As you see in the diagram, in the sitting up position, burp can be given by rubbing the, keeping on means support her chest and head, and the other hand to rub and pat her back. So we are halfway through, and in the next way through, we are going to see health benefits of breastfeeding, storage of breast milk, barriers to breastfeeding, galactobox, lactation suppression, contraceptions during breastfeeding, lactational amenorrhea, and HIV mothers and breastfeeding, COVID infection and breastfeeding, also myths and facts about the breastfeeding, complications of breastfeeding. So benefits of breastfeeding, as we see, it's good for mother as well as good for baby. Benefits of breastfeeding. First, we'll see about good for baby. All infants should be exclusively breastfed for first 6 months. The baby receives adequate nutrients and antibodies necessary for healthy growth through breastfeeding. Breastfeeding assures adequate weight gain of infants. The average breastfed baby doubles its birth weight in 5 to 6 months. By 1 year, a typical breastfed baby weighs about 2.5 times its birth weight. Exclusively breastfed children are at a much lower risk of diarrhea and acute respiratory infection. Exclusive breastfeeding for first 6 months reduces chances of any development of asthma and allergy. It minimizes the risk of infant obesity, infant diabetes, respiratory diseases, pneumonia, heart disease, and other illness. Baby enjoys proper speech and facial development with proper breastfeeding in place. Enhances bone formation as well. So it enhances brain development and intelligent coefficient, that IQ of baby, and lowers the rate of hospitalization. Breastfed baby is completely free from sudden infant death syndrome and strengthens the special bond between mother and baby. Health benefits of breastfeeding, as in a summary, if we see, children who are breastfed for longer periods have lower infectious morbidity and mortality rates than children who are breastfed for shorter periods or who are not breastfed. Longer periods of breastfeeding are associated with a reduction in the child's risk of overweight or obesity. So these are the list of benefits we see. They are protected from allergies, eczema, urinary tract infections, inflammatory bowel disease, diabetes type 1, gastroenteritis, and Hodgkin's lymphoma, otitis media, Haemophilus influenza, meningitis, necrotizing enterocolitis, pneumonia, lower respiratory tract infections, and respiratory syncytial virus infections, sepsis, sudden infant death syndrome. And it also provides immunological protection while the infant's immune system is maturing. So next we see the what is the benefits of the breastfeeding good for mother. So breastfeeding stimulates oxytocin hormone that cause uterus to contract and return to the normal size, and reduces chances of postpartum hemorrhage, helps in reducing weight faster without restricting calories, delays the return of menstrual cycle. And breastfeeding also delays the return of fertility cycle, then giving them adequate space for the next pregnancy, reduces the risk of breast cancer, ovarian cancer, and osteoporosis. Breastfeeding aids maternal, physical, and emotional health. Mothers who successfully breastfeed are less likely to develop postpartum depression. Breastfeeding helps the mother to feel the joy of motherhood. So breastfeeding mother health benefits summary, breastfeeding could also prevent the death of 20,000 women a year from breast cancer. Breastfeeding could also improve birth spacing. Breastfeeding is all associated with a reduction women's risk of diabetes. Breastfeeding might reduce rates of ovarian cancer. So position, as I told you, it's a very important thing. Correct breastfeeding position helps effective milk transferring from mother to baby. This also helps to prevent breastfeeding problems like nipple pain, sore nipples, or mastitis, etc., which may lead to discontinuation of breastfeeding at a later time. So, how we store the breast milk? Human milk can be stored at room temperature for 6 to 8 hours. Expressed milk can be stored in an insulated cooler bag with ice packs for 24 hours. Breast milk can be stored in the refrigerator for about 5 days at about 40 degrees Fahrenheit. And it can also be kept in the freezer compartment of a fridge for up to 2 weeks at 0 to 5 degrees Fahrenheit. It can be stored in a deep freezer for about 3 to 12 months. So these are the few extracting breast pumps, lab, manual breast pump, and other double breast pump. So I like to tell you about the breast milk banking. So donor human milk processing centers. Here first they will do a donor mother registration and screening, then milk expression of donor mother, then collection and storage in freezer, cooling, pasteurization, milk testing, storing, then prescription and milk fed to the sick baby. So here donor milk processing is done and milk storage facility is there in these centers. So the first is Lokmanya Tilak Municipal General Hospital and Lokmanya Tilak Municipal Medical College, Sion, Mumbai was the first one. India's first human milk bank was established in 1989 at Sion Hospital. Nearly nearly 3,000 to 5,000 babies benefit from the services of this milk bank every year. So, what are the barriers of breastfeeding? So, individual, inadequate knowledge, embarrassment, social and negative perception of this. And if we see the interpersonal, there is a lack of support from the partner and family, and perceived threatening, like father and child bond is not good in that cases, and institutional. So if the working woman or anything, a return to work or school, lack of workspace facilities, and unsupported healthcare environments can be a barrier to breastfeeding. And also community discomfort about nursing in public, and policy, aggressive marketing by formula companies may also few barriers to breastfeeding. So if we talk about the galactobox, so these are used to increase the breast milk supply. Galactobox means which will increase the breast milk production. So should only be used with adequate milk removal, and one drug, that is metoclopramide, most commonly used, and its mechanical mechanism of action is increases prolactin hormone, and dosing is on the first day 10 mg, second day 10 mg twice daily, and third day 10 mg thrice daily. So domperidone and chlorpromazine and phenogreek methyl dopamine beta blockers can also be used. So important best foods for breastfeeding, that is whole grains can be used: carrots, beetroot, spinach, broccoli, cabbage, berries, tomatoes, oranges, milk, yogurt, cheese, fish, chicken, uh, whole grain, especially oatmeal, can be used for increasing the breast milk. So this one brand which is a Lactaid, which is used at the Galactobox. This is the only brand available with the freedom of choice, that is a capsule form and a granules form, and it is good for mother and good for baby. It's caption, and only brand that has undergone several clinical trials and improves quantity and quality of breast. So what would how we do what happening which lead to lactation suppression, that is use of dummies, pacifiers and bottles, and making the baby wait for feeds, and giving feeds like sugar water, honey, or formula feeds, either as pre lacteal feeds or at any time. It will also suppress lactation. And medicines like oral contraceptives or methergine, and painful breast conditions like sore or cracked nipples and breast engorgement. Drugs like levodopa, bromocriptine, thiazide diuretics, their mechanism of action is they reduce the prolactin. So the drug like cabergoline we are using 0.25 mg, 2 tablets that we give for lactation suppression in few cases where the baby is not available for breastfeeding, in case of abortions or IUDs or stillbirths or in such conditions. So contraceptions during breastfeeding, that is lactational amenorrhea and progesterone only pills, barrier method like condoms, combined oral contraceptive, slightly higher failure rate is present in these. So if we see what is about lactational amenorrhea, so it is present the link between breastfeeding and your periods, and lactational, it's related to breastfeeding, and amenorrhea, that is you're not getting the periods. The mechanism is baby suckling, it stimulates the nipple. Nipple stimulation triggers signals to the mother's brain, and signals disrupt hormone production and suppress ovulation. No egg, there is no pregnancy. So the question, can I get pregnant while breastfeeding? So in the lactational amenorrhea method is 98 to 99% effective in preventing pregnancy when all three of the following are true. Your baby is under 6 months of old, and your periods haven't resumed bleeding beyond 56 days of postpartum, and your baby is exclusively breastfeeding at least every 4 hours during the day and every 6 hours at night without any other food or drink. So in these conditions, we can say that it may be effective. So breastfeeding is less effective at preventing pregnancy over time. So problem with the lactational amenorrhea, mother can get pregnant by lactation also, even when she didn't have her periods. Because ovulation occurs 14 days before the menstruation, and women can conceive made present with symptoms like nausea, vomiting, large abdomen, and other symptoms of pregnancy. So, what we have to counsel? Contraceptive counseling: when women is exclusively breastfeeding, a contraceptive method should be used in the third postpartum month. In partial or no breastfeeding, she should use it in the third postpartum week. So, a few points on the HIV positive mother and breastfeeding. Exclusive breastfeeding is primary feeding options and is recommended during first 6 months of life in HIV mother also. It is believed that mixed feeding, that means mother HIV positive mothers feed and also formula milk, if you are combining, that mixed feeding in the first 6 months carries a greater risk of transmission because the other liquids and foods given to the baby alongside the breast milk can damage the already delicate and permeable gut wall of the small infant and allows the virus to be transmitted more easily. So mixed feeding also poses the same risk of contamination and diarrhea as artificial feeding, diminishing the chances of survival. So breastfeeding mother should continue antiretroviral drugs along with breastfeeding to prevent the vertical transmission. So few questions on breastfeeding and COVID-19 infection, which is a current very burning topic. So the questions like, can COVID-19 be passed through breastfeeding? Transmission of active COVID-19, that is virus that can be cause infection through breast milk and breastfeeding, has not been detected. There is no reason to avoid or stop breastfeeding. So the next question, in communities where COVID-19 is prevalent, should mothers be breastfed? Yes. In all socioeconomic settings, breastfeed improves survival and provides lifelong health and development advantages to newborns and infants. Breastfeeding also improves the health of mothers. So following another question, like following delivery, should a baby still be immediately placed skin to skin and breastfed if the mother confirmed or suspected to have COVID-19? So the answer is yes. Immediate and continued skin to skin care include kangaroo mother care, improves the temperature and also of the newborn, and is associated with improved survival among newborn babies. And placing the newborn close to the mother also enables early initiation of breastfeeding, which also reduces the mortality. So another question, like following delivery, should a baby still be immediately placed into sin? We have seen this. So can women with confirmed or suspected COVID-19 breastfeed? The answer is yes, yes, yes. Women with confirmed or suspected COVID-19 can breastfeed if they wish to do so, and they should wash hands frequently with soap and water and use alcohol-based hand rub, and especially before touching the baby. Wear a medical mask during any contact with the baby, including while feeding. Sneeze or cough into a tissue, then dispose of it immediately and wash hands again. Routinely clean and disinfect surfaces that mother have touched. It is important to replace medical masks as soon as they become damp and dispose of them immediately. So masks should not be reused or touched in the front. So if a mother confirmed or suspected to have a COVID-19 and not have a medical face mask, should she still breastfeed? Yes. Breastfeeding unquestionably reduces mortality, newborns and infants, and it provides numerous lifelong health benefits and brain development advantages to the child. Mothers with symptoms of COVID-19 are advised to wear a medical mask, but even if this is not possible, breastfeeding should be continued. Mothers should follow other infection prevention measures such as washing hands, cleaning surfaces, sneezing or coughing into the tissue, And non-medical masks like homemade or cloth masks have not been evaluated. At this time, it is not possible to make a recommendation for or against their use. So, and the question says like mother had confirmed or suspected COVID-19 and then she's unwell to breastfeed baby directly, what she can do. If mother is too unwell to breastfeed baby due to COVID-19 and other complications, she should be supported to safely provide her baby with breast milk in a way possible or available and acceptable to her. This would include like expressing milk from her breast, and she can go for donor human milk. Or if expressing breast milk or donor human milk are not feasible, then consider wet nursing, that is, another woman breastfeeds the child, or infant formula milk at least, which measures to ensure that this is feasible, correctly prepared, and safe and sustainable. So, mother had confirmed or suspected COVID-19 and was unable to breastfeed. And when can she start breastfeed again? So, answer is like mother can start to breastfeed when she feel well enough to do so, and there is no fixed time interval to wait after confirmed or suspected COVID-19. So, there is no evidence that breastfeeding changes the clinical course of COVID-19 in the mother, and health workers or breastfeeding counselors should support mother to relactate again as she feels well. So mother is confirmed or suspected to have COVID-19, and is it safer to give her baby infant formula milk? So the answer is no, as there are always risks associated with giving infant formula milk to newborns and infants in all settings. There is associated with giving infant formula milk are increased whenever home and community conditions are compromised, such as reduced access to health services if a baby becomes unwell, and reduced access to clean water and or access to supplies of infant formula milk are difficult or not guaranteed affordable or sustainable. So um, so we start with the myths and facts of breastfeeding. These are very interesting, but when we uh, when we know about few facts, then it is very nicely we can go ahead with our breastfeeding without any tension, without any doubts. So myth one is babies naturally know how to breastfeed. So the fact is your baby is born with infant reflexes, as I told you, that can help with breastfeeding, like suck reflex and rooting reflex. The suck reflex is the baby's instinct to suck anything that touches the roof of the their mouth, and the rooting reflex is when the baby turns their head towards any stroking on the cheek or the mouth. So, although your baby is born with these natural instincts, they do not guarantee breastfeeding success. So, breastfeeding has to be learned and practiced by both baby and mommy. So, myth number two, you can't breastfeed if the size and shape of your nipple is not perfect. So, the fact is, every woman has different sized and shaped breast and nipples. There is no perfect breast for breastfeeding. And the other factor to consider is that every baby is different. For example, the size of their mouth, lips, and tongue, etc., are different. So the anatomical compatibility between mom and the baby is what makes for a better breastfeeding experience. So myth number three, you have to drink milk to make milk. So what's the fact? Drinking milk has little to do with a woman's production of breast milk. Whether a mother drinks milk has nothing to do with her breast milk supply. It is, however, important for the mother to remain hydrated with any form of liquids and consume a well-rounded, healthy diet. The body will draw the necessary nutrients from her body to add to their breast milk. If a mother is undernourished, she will become further undernourished while her body continues to supply the baby with nutrients. So, myth number four, uh, will the breastfeeding always hurt? The fact is, the breastfeeding should rarely hurt. Your nipples may become sensitive when you start breastfeeding because of an increased hormone level after delivery and increased contact with your baby during feeding. Although nipple sensitivity is normal, nipple pain is not normal and should be evaluated by a lactation consultant to determine the cause. The most common cause for painful nipples is an incorrect latch or position and can be lessened with the help of lactational professionals. So, what is myth number 5? Many women do not make enough breast milk. So, what's the fact? Most women make enough breast milk for their baby. There are many women who think they are not making enough milk for breast milk for baby's need. Instead of focusing on the size of your breast and the fullness you feel, pay attention to these signs. The few signs I'm going to say, which may be helpful you to know that your baby is getting enough breast milk. So, what are they? By the time your baby is 4 days old, they should have at least 6 wet diapers each 24-hour period. By the time your baby is 4 days old, so at least 3 or more poopy diapers with yellowish colored poop should be there. And your baby's urine is pale and diluted. And your baby is breastfeeding at least 8 times in a 24-hour period. And your baby regains their baby weight by 10 to 14 days old. And your baby is gaining about 4 to 8 ounces per week. During a feeding, you should be able to see and hear the baby swallow. During a feeding, your baby should have a rhythmic suckling pattern. If these all criteria are matching to your baby, then just be happy that your breastfeed is sufficient to the baby. So, another myth, there is no way to determine how much breast milk the baby is getting. As I told you, it's a myth, but the fact we can know is it is true that it's difficult to determine the exact amount that a breastfed baby is getting at any given feeding session. As stated under myth 5, as we saw, there are signs that the baby is getting enough milk, which can be measured by the weight gain and diaper output like urine and poop. And the exact amount of breast milk is not important factor, as with any given feeding, the amount of breast milk and composition change. The important part is whether the weight gain is appropriate and the diaper output is adequate. There is no need to worry about how much breast milk is baby is getting. So, seeing on the amount of the diapers output and the weight gain the baby is getting, we have to be relaxed. So, myth number 7, formula is same as the breast milk. So, what is the fact? So this statement is completely false. Formula is not like breast milk. As I told you, in many aspects, it is different. So formula is more like a medicine than a food. If your baby needs to have formula for certain reasons, that is okay. But breast milk is the ideal food for your baby. And because breast milk prepares your baby's tummy for food by coating and closing the normal openings in the lining in the baby's intestine. And breast milk is also designed for easy digestion for your baby. And often babies who drink breast milk experience less spitting up and gas. And breast milk also provides your baby with their first immunization to help the baby to fall sick without falling sick. So, breast milk fed babies have been studied to have reduced risks of adolescent and adult obesity and asthma, celiac disease, and inflammatory bowel disease, childhood leukemia and lymphomas, and ear infections, gastrointestinal infections, respiratory infections, including bronchiolitis and pneumonia, serious colds, and sudden infant death syndrome, throat infections, type 1 and type 2 diabetes. So another myth is don't wake up a sleeping baby to breastfeed. Always we see like baby is sleeping. We didn't breastfeed. What we see the next day, the baby is getting yellowish. So the fact is, unless your baby is older than 3 months and a well-established feeder, learned feeder, This statement is not true. In the first couple of days after birth, your baby will sleep a lot. In order to create a regular breastfeeding routine and provide your baby with the necessary energy, you need to wake up your sleeping baby. So, allowing a baby to continue to sleep and have longer periods of time between feedings would actually make them sleepier, and this can become a problem. In the days following birth, mothers need to wake their baby, provide them with nutrition, and establish a feeding routine. The experience of breastfeeding is different for every mother. In as me as an obstetrician, in my role as an obstetrician, I enjoy being able to help women accomplish their breastfeeding goals and overcome challenges. I hope the above facts help you to with your breastfeeding experience and answer many of the questions. So myth number 9, you should not breastfeed if you are taking some medication. This is some sensitive topic, and I usually say that this is not completely true, that also completely not false, but you have to take your opinion. Taking a new or any medication while breastfeeding should always involve the advice of your pediatrician and also a lactation consultant. So, myth number 10, I will not make enough milk in the days before my breast milk comes in. So, what is the fact? Under normal circumstances, a new mom makes exactly enough breast milk for a newborn's need, and a newborn's stomach is about the size of a marble. And in first couple of days after birth, if the baby is breastfeeding a minimum of 8 times in a 24-hour period, the mother's body will make about 5 milliliters. Uh, Seemingly small amount, but perfect for a newborn's stomach. As the baby continues to breastfeed regularly, the mother's body will get the signal to increase the volume of milk as the baby's needs demand it. In the nutshell, the small amount of milk that your body is making is totally normal and will increase as the baby demands it. So we see in few that there are postpartum depression. One of the risk factor, one of the means indication for postpartum depression is breastfeeding difficulties. Other factors like biological factors, psychological factors, and genetic predisposition, genetic gestational diabetes, and pregnancy and delivery complications also result in postpartum depression. Symptoms like feeling sad or overwhelmed, crying often, and overwhelming anxiety about the baby's well being, lacking the energy to complete simple tasks and like brushing your teeth. She don't seem to be interested, and having no appetite or binge eating sometimes, or sleeping too much or too little, and feeling ambivalent and having repeated negative feelings about your baby, and restlessness, and sluggishness will be there, sluggishness about every act, and being unable to concentrate, and also decreased interest in the activities you would usually which she usually enjoys, and intense feelings or guilt or worthlessness she will feel, and having thoughts about harming yourselves or your baby. So these are the few symptoms. These are the few symptoms in the this thing. So a few problems we see: flat nipples, inverted nipples, and fullness of engorgement of breast, sore nipples, and blocked ducts, mastitis. So for flat nipples, we use this type of syringe. So this way, we will pull out the flat nipple. Then fullness and engorgement of breast. Common causes can be giving prelacteal feels, delayed initiation of breastfeeds, early removal of baby from the breast, and bottle feeding and any restrictions. Complications, they could be flat nipples get flattened, and also it is difficult to baby to suckle, and infections can occur. So breast engorgement and infections, when infections occur, we can prevent engorgement by preventing and proper elimination, and apply the moist heat to the breast 3 to 5 minutes, and expressing enough milk to soften areolae, and paracetamol can be used for relieving pain. And sore nipples can be poor attachment oral thrush, and also it can be treated by using some breast shields and means for cracked nipples. So this can be managed. So blocked duct can be means if the baby doesn't suckle well, it can cause to block the ducts. So ensure the infant is suckling in good position and encourage the mother to breastfeed and often as long as her infant is willing. So in case of mastitis and abscess, blockage of ducts, it can cause infection. So it can cause a red, hot, tender, and swollen breast. It can be treated by supportive counseling, effective milk removal, antibiotic therapy, symptomatic treatment, and also we can do a incision and drainage if the abscess is uh, small, and then ultrasound guided aspiration can be done. So take home message to conclude, all should be exclusively, all infants should be exclusively breastfed for first 6 months. Exclusive breastfeeding ensures healthy baby and healthy family, happy family. Inadequate and poor lactation can be treated. Every mother can 100% breastfeed and nurture her baby. So thank you so much for your patience listening, and let's join hands for a best and better uh, breastfeeding. So I congratulate, and I want to ask each and every mother to progress their breastfeeding techniques. Hope this is useful. Thank you so much.